Hi everyone, welcome to Good Day Chula Vista. We're on our episode 65 already. Thank you for joining us, and today's gonna be fun. I have these beautiful ladies here with us, Karen and Liz, so stay with us. Okay, well, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And before we get started and I introduce you to these beautiful ladies, please help me share this video to your page and give us a lot of hearts. Share it with your friends because we want to promote this video. It's a really good interview and I want to make sure we get a lot of likes and hearts. So please help us out by doing that. And don't forget to make a comment because we have a drawing at the end of the show. And if you make a comment, say where you're watching us from or anything besides liking it, you have to make a comment and you'll be entered into the drawing right now.
And they can ask questions too, right?
Yes, please ask as many questions as you want. We'll be reading them here and answering. Nice. So, estoy confundida.
Are we live?
I'm waiting for the intro video, but it already happened. Sorry. Okay, so Liz, you
yes, we're just having some fun over here, okay?
So I am Liz Garcia. I'm a South County mentor here at Coldwell Banker West. I've been in the business for 12, going on 13 years now, and I'm a realtor here at Coldwell Banker.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
What else do you want to know? I mean, I have a twin sister.
Yes,
you knew that, right? I mean, now you know.
I just found out last year that you guys were twins. I never knew you. I thought you were sisters, but not twins.
Yeah. So Martha Garcia, she works at California Preferred Escrow. We used to work together with doing real estate together, but now she's at Escrow. She's awesome to work with. I mean, I love being able to work with my sister.
And you live here in the area also?
I live near Imperial Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're here
close by. Yeah, for sure.
Great. How about you?
I am Karen Vargas, and I have been in real estate for the last 35 years. And I started when I was 5, yes. And I have been in real estate management for the last 33 and enjoying every minute of it. I live in Chula Vista and have lived in Chula Vista, originally from Mexico City. So yes, I am a chilanga, but I am a chilanga light, a chilanga buena onda, okay? And I have 3 kids and 9 grandchildren. And that's me.
That's Karen, and that's our manager, and we love her. She's a little strict, and I think it's good for us because sometimes we just want to come in jeans, and she doesn't allow it, so I think it's good. It makes me dress up for work. So today we're going to be talking about how to choose your real estate agent. A lot of you are homeowners or are renters and are going to become homeowners and need a buyer's agent to represent you. And a lot of you are agents, and maybe you're not getting a lot of clients, or maybe you're not getting a lot of following or having repeat customers. So you might learn a lot of things here. So stay with us and make sure you ask questions. So we planned some questions here so we can start with the first one. And let's see, do sellers and buyers really need an agent to represent them?
Well, here's the deal, Faby. My answer is 150% yes. It's the equivalent if you have to go to court for whatever reason, and it's a big investment. The dispute that you're going to court with is, do you feel safer going with an attorney, or do you want to go by yourself?
Yeah, definitely with an attorney.
Definitely, right? Exactly. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the reasons and how it benefits buyers and sellers to have an agent. But the answer to this specific question, do sellers and buyers really need an agent to represent them? Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Buyers and sellers as well, the same.
Absolutely, yes. And we'll explain a little bit more about it.
Okay. So what makes a great agent?
Being trained at Coldwell Banker West by Karen. No, never mind.
What's the phone number, Karen?
What makes a great agent? Training, and more training. And that's a reason Miss Liz Garcia is here, who is the South Bay mentor and trainer, specifically for new licensees, but she also gets a lot of seasoned agents in her classes. So Liz, tell us a little bit about what you do.
That's right. We have a wonderful program here at Coldwell Banker West where any new agents recently licensed, they come over, they sign up, and we will help them with their real estate career. We will walk them through transactions, meet with them 2 to 3 times a week, depending on their needs, and just give them really a daily schedule of what they need to do to become a successful agent. A lot of people just think you get your license and you can go out there and sell, and it's a lot harder than that. So you need the training. Besides the book training, you need to get out there, show property, meet with clients, have a schedule, make calls, and follow up with people so that you can become successful. It's really important.
And very important too. Unfortunately, we live in a litigious society. So real estate involves a lot of legalities, a lot. A regular file without any issues is probably 2 inches thick. Okay. Yes, now it's digital, but like that, you get a picture of the amount of documentation. So there are certain requirements by law that the seller must provide documentation. For the buyer, the same thing. And there's a process where most likely anybody that is not a real estate agent will probably not be familiar with that process.
Right.
So it is the best protection for a buyer or seller to rely on a real estate professional.
Yeah, and somebody that's trained. Like Liz, like for example, like you say, you do all the training for the agent. Because I remember when I was in some other companies that new agents would join that company and then they had a buyer. So they're like, okay, we have a buyer. So this buyer is trusting this agent. This agent is showing them houses, and we all get that key or that app to open any house as realtors because we have access to all that. But once we get once we find a property that this buyer likes, there's a lot that needs to happen for that buyer to get that offer accepted and to make it a fair offer, right? And I think sometimes, me as a listing agent, I sometimes get offers from buyer's agents that are, I even want to help their buyer when I see it. I'm like, oh my
They're
God,
incomplete,
right?
yeah.
So do you help the new buyers with that? Is there a standard that we have in this company that they have to meet before they can start writing their own offers?
We literally walk them through an offer before they even have a client. So we make sure that they know exactly how to fill out an offer, a contract. We also teach them how to qualify clients, because you don't want a buyer's agent showing property if they're not qualified, if they don't have their buyer qualified to buy houses or the price range that they're qualified for. So besides that, we teach them how to run CMAs, market analysis report, to make sure that you're making a comparable offer and you're not just writing a number down on the contract. And we teach them also to educate their clients and let them know what the process is in order to complete a transaction. Having the deposit ready, having your down payment ready, being pre-qualified, making sure that they know that they need to do an inspection and other important documents that are done throughout the transaction.
So they're doing the transaction, but you're doing it with them step by step.
Right.
So that buyer is protected, or that seller is protected, because there's 2 realtors actually working on this.
Exactly. And if I need to meet with them and the new agent, I will do that too. So I make sure that they're supported. We will support the new agent 100%. I've been out on a Sunday and it's after an open house and someone got a new client that they were pre-qualified and they want to write an offer. I meet with that agent and make sure that it's done correctly the first time.
So the most important piece about this, Faby, is I want to make sure that the clients see the benefit to them, okay? Because yes, Liz is great and holds their hand continuously until they feel comfortable with. But we're also doing this because protection of our clients. We want to make sure, again, we live in a litigious society, so when they have somebody as experienced as Liz holding their hand, they can be safe in the things that they do. So it is also, it is the company policy to train the agents and to support them 150% until we know they can be on their own, where there is no danger, if you want to call it like that, for the consumer.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes if you don't check something off on that contract and you're not protected, if something happens, then sometimes they're not going to sue just the realtor. They're going to go after that seller or that buyer. So many things can happen. So it's definitely important to have a good agent. So today here you're going to learn what makes a good agent, what to look for, so you guys don't end up hiring the the wrong one. Okay, so will not choosing a great agent hurt the seller, and how? So let's talk about the seller first.
So for the seller, let me explain why for the seller is super, super important in having the right agent, such as Faby as a listing agent. Okay, let's set the example of what we call a for sale by owner. Okay, that's a seller that decides that they want to save the money and not have a realtor. Well, here's the deal. When you're selling on your own and you don't have an agent representing you, yes, you're going to save a little money that could cost you thousands and thousands more. And here's why. When you're for sale by owner, somebody's going to knock on your door and is going to say, oh, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I see that your house is up for sale. May I come in and see it? And the sellers are going to be excited, right? Hey, a potential buyer. Yes. But how do we know it's a real buyer? You know, unfortunately, right now there's been a lot of unsafe situations happening, and there's no assurance. How do we know it's not somebody that is just checking out who lives in the house, what kind of stuff they have, what's the floor plan, if they're valuable items or not, et cetera, et cetera. And you have no way of checking. Then they might give you their name. I might say, oh, yes, you know, I'm Mary Smith. Well, how do you know that I'm Mary Smith, you know? And then they leave, and that's it. And 2 days later, the house gets burglarized, and you have no idea that it's somebody that you showed the house to. Right. So when you have an agent, you know, we highly recommend for sellers to have lock boxes. And a lot of sellers believe that the lock boxes are put just for convenience for the agent so that you don't have to go open. No, that's not the situation. It is because we know that sellers have better results when people can see the properties, but through those lock boxes, we always know who was the last person who showed the property. So if for whatever reason something happens, we can pull the list immediately, call those agents, and find out who their potential buyers are.
Only licensed realtors can open those lock boxes.
Absolutely.
To have access to those keys or those passwords.
So it's for protection of the seller, and again, yes, it might save you a commission, but a commission is truly insignificant to a home being burglarized or being sued and having to go to court.
And how do you know when it's a good listing agent? Like, how can you tell a good agent, let's just list, how can you tell when it's a good listing agent or it's not a good listing agent?
Well, the first thing I see sometimes when you see a listing is cell phone pictures, right? This morning I was showing property online to a client, and there's a house that's listed, and you could see in the corner, like, the little boy got in the way. So there's like someone's child is like, his nose is in the picture. There's another picture, same listing, where she took the picture for the bathroom, and the mirror is reflecting, and she hit her head,
and the phone is there.
And her body is there, so it looks like there's a headless agent taking a picture. And so the lighting is bad. Cell phone pictures are sideways. I mean, a good listing agent would never. I mean, if there was an emergency and you needed to list a property, maybe the front of the house, but you always hire a professional photographer with the proper equipment, lights, to make that property look amazing.
I like that about Coldwell Banker West, not just because I work here, but I know that they're so strict with that stuff. Like, if one of our managers sees one of our listings with that kind of pictures, we immediately get a phone call. Like, it's happened in my team, you know, my newer agents, and they've done that, and I get a call immediately, like, oh my God, we get such a good deal with this company getting the professional pictures that it's silly. It's probably more expensive to do it with anyone else.
And you get quality. It's timely. You can hire someone. They'll go out there tomorrow or the day after. You'll have the pictures within 24 hours, the right size, the right fit. So we'll have for print size, MLS size. So all that helps with presenting.
And that photographer is going to know if the property is in condition to have the pictures taken. Because that's another thing. There's agents where they take pictures, and sometimes they even pay a photographer to do this, and there's beds unmade, dirty dishes in the sink, toilet seats up, you know, broken cars in the driveway. That's a total disservice to a seller.
Right. But you know what? Even sometimes fixer uppers, because I just have a listing right now. It's a fixer upper, and sometimes when it's an agent that wants to save money on commission and they just want to make more money, they don't want to invest in pictures. But even if it's a fixer upper, I'd rather spend $150 or $75 on better pictures, because I know I will get more people coming to see that property, and will probably get multiple offers, even though it's a fixer-upper. Because even when it's an ugly house with professional pictures, it looks better.
Yeah, and it encourages people to go see it and give it an opportunity.
Yeah, you get more money for your seller.
Exactly.
For doing that. So pictures. What is one of the other things that you can tell when it's a good agent and not a good agent for sellers?
Well, besides the picture, that's like my number one pet peeve. Just scheduling times to show property. You want to be mindful of the seller, but you also want to make sure that the house gets an opportunity to be shown. So making sure, a good agent will schedule open houses, broker opens, they'll market the property properly so that it gets a fair chance on the market.
Flyers on the sign box.
Exactly. There's agents at times that don't want to do an open house for whatever reason. They feel like the house is going to sell itself, and houses don't sell themselves. I mean, if they would, why would there be so many of us, right? And so we need to do open houses, make it available for the public, price it right. Mm-hmm. Don't just list the price just because that's a number that the seller wants, but educate our clients and let them know what the recent sales are in the area so that they can get the best price for their home.
Make sure they answer their phone. A lot of the agents,
yes,
they have these things, I'm too busy, so I don't answer my phone. Leave me a message and I'll return the calls tonight. We have 2 agents here that are like top of San Diego. They always answer their phone. Mm-hmm. So it's like I have no excuse not to answer my phone, because these agents are closing 20 deals a month, like 200
mm-hmm.
a year, and mm-hmm. they answer their phone every time. So you can't be too busy to answer your phone. So if your agent is not taking calls from you, they're probably not taking them from any of the other agents that are calling to view your property either, right?
It's true. One of the, when I first started, there was a top producer agent. That's the first thing he told me. Always answer your phone. And if you're eating or you can't answer your phone, return a call within 15 minutes, because it's the most important. A lot of agents don't do something as simple as answering their phone, which is all our business. So
right.
Yeah.
This is our moneymaker.
It sure is.
Right?
And it's amazing. Sometimes I hear from agents where we have a transaction with an agent in another company, mm-hmm. and I say, we've been calling you, and the response is, oh, I never answer the phone if I don't recognize the number. I'm like, you're in sales. What do you mean you don't answer the phone?
It's a potential client.
Right.
It's a buyer, a seller.
Listing, lady, right?
Exactly.
We always say that. Well, that could be the $1 million listing. Hold on, let me tell
you.
So, yes, make sure you hire an agent that is doing the things that we're saying that they should be doing, not the things that, they shouldn't be doing. So that's for sellers. What about for buyers? How can you tell? Because for us it's really easy to be able to tell, but for them that are buyers, what should they be looking for?
They should be looking for someone that's going to take care of their needs. They have to look for someone that's going to pre-qualify them. You don't want to be out there looking for $900,000 homes and then realize that you only qualify for $700,000, or maybe you do qualify for $900,000, but you're not comfortable with the payment. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two, make sure that they show you homes. A lot of agents sometimes will send them, drive by or go to the open house. No, that my job is to go with you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if I find out my clients are going to open houses by themselves, I'm like, I'm going to go with you. It doesn't matter if it's an open house. I want to be there with you, because there's things that we may see at a property that you may not notice.
Right.
And the person that's holding an open house, that's representing the seller, their best interest is the seller. Your best interest, I'm there to represent the buyer's best interest.
So you're gonna really look at the house. What's wrong with the house? Is this foundation problems? Maybe it's not a good idea to waste our time and invest in this. Put in an offer, do an inspection if you can already see
mm-hmm.
the cracks.
Right. I've seen houses where they're very excited, and then we're walking, you see a crack where you can literally see through the wall, and it's like, okay, well, this one has a cracked foundation, obviously, and so they're so excited about the home that they don't take a look at that, and so we help with that.
And for a buyer, you buying or selling a home is 85% emotional, okay? Unless you're an investor, it's very, very emotional, and it's emotionally draining.
Right.
So for buyers, a good agent is going to be somebody like you, Faby, or Liz, who educate the buyers in advance. They always know exactly what to expect. You explain to them the process. So whether it's a buyer or a seller, one very good indication of an agent being a great professional is that they truly ask the questions to find out what your needs are. Okay, they're not just focused on, okay, let's just move on. Okay, they want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Okay, let's go. No, it's like, okay, help me understand what are your needs. Why do you need the 4 bedrooms, 3-bath? Okay, and help them prioritize. So truly learn to listen to them and help them figure out what their true needs are. I've seen Liz, for instance, and she's always making sure that the buyers know every step of the way. And I see how she's training the new agents now. And it's great because the agent feels more comfortable and the clients automatically, their emotional stress, gets lowered because of it. So that's the most important piece.
We're psychologists too.
Oh, yes, we are very good psychologists. Yes.
It's always stressful when you're buying a house. Even when you're selling a house, it's really stressful. Am I going to find a rental, or am I going to find the next house before we close escrow? All those things. But when you're buying a house, this is the biggest purchase, especially when it's your first time. So if your agent didn't sit with you and go over like, okay, let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me tell you what buying a house is. If they didn't give you the brochures, okay, this is what title is. This is what escrow is. If you didn't get a presentation folder with all that information and they didn't sit with you, it's probably not that good of an agent. Okay, I'm not, it might, and maybe they just don't have a presentation folder, but in most companies, like even in this company, if I need to create a presentation folder, I can just walk down the hall and there's tons of information there from our title company, from our escrow company. I could put something together there.
And we have special machine that binds the presentations. I mean, we have everything.
Yeah, we get emails from our managers. Bill is always sending us those the presentations. Yes. We get them from a really good company. We get the presentations made for us. I mean, some of us we already have our own, more branded, but a good company is going to have all that information for you, and a good agent is going to make sure they print it and they have it available for you. So look at all those things when you're hiring an agent. Don't just go with my friend's cousin, because maybe your friend's cousin only has sold one house. Another thing, do you think it's important, like if the agent doesn't have experience, if they haven't closed that many deals, that they say, you know what, I haven't closed that many deals, but I have my mentor, and my mentor has closed hundreds of houses already.
If I may answer that one, it's not only that I have my mentor, but I always tell my agents, and this goes for the seasoned or for the new licensees, is that when they hire one of our agents, new, seasoned, experts such as you two, they not only hire you, they hire myself, my entire staff, okay? So I'm pretty much involved. We have a lot of transactions, but I pretty much know the majority of them, especially if there's an issue. Right. So definitely it is necessary to what's the word I'm looking for, Liz?
I would say use the experience of the company. It's really rare, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Karen has gone out to show properties with new agents. I've never heard of a company manager do that. So for Karen to say, oh, I know you were busy on Sunday, I went with this person to show property because she was very nervous. Who does that? I mean, there's not, I've never heard of it. I mean, maybe they do, but I haven't seen it. And we appreciate that, and that's why you should take advantage of the company's knowledge. And
it's a company's knowledge, and it's thanks to the agents, to the professionals. We are here, management is here to support the agents so that they have all the tools to support you as a consumer. Right. That's the most important piece.
So let's say somebody doesn't hire a good buyer's agent. What can they lose if they go with the wrong agent and they don't take the time to do their homework?
Karen?
What would they lose?
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you what they could lose, okay? If the buyer does not have an agent who is careful enough or doesn't have the knowledge,
or just wants their check,
and does not pay attention in how the purchase agreement is written, the buyer could be bound legally to a contract that is not to his or her benefit. Okay, so, and that goes for buyers or sellers. And I'm going to give you an example. I know that the question is a little bit later of giving examples of bad situations, but this is a right moment to do it, okay? As a buyer, let's talk about a seller first. As a seller, if you're going to sell your property because you want to upgrade or you want to downsize, whatever it is, okay? And the typical verbiage is, seller to find suitable housing. Okay, well, what if you find it, but if you don't close?
Right.
So the majority of agents out there say finding suitable housing.
And sales closing concurrent.
Well, yes, here's the deal. You know what? The key is that it's not about finding it. The verbiage needs to read upon close of escrow of suitable housing. And then you just mentioned concurrent closing. There is no such thing as concurrent closing. It's impossible to close concurrent.
Sí sabe. We all call it that though, but
in my time, that's how we said it.
Yes, we used to do it, but now.
So how is the verbiage now?
Okay, here's the deal. In order to have what you call concurrent closings,
Right.
it can only happen if property number 1 is vacant, right? Because how can you close concurrent and when is the first one going to move into the second one? When is the second one going to move? So typically concurrent means that they're closing exactly the same time, right?
I do it that way, but then I do ask for some days for that.
There we go.
So I'd request
Exactly.
the property will not,
Exactly.
even possession of the property will be 2 days after. So
That's the difference of a great agent that knows what they're doing, and that's the problem that an agent.
Dije, oh my God, am I doing it?
No, but that's the problem that some agents do not know that. And it's not their fault, maybe they just didn't get the training. And that could be really damaging for a seller because then they could end up having sold their property and not having anywhere to go. And Faby,
the buyer not being able to move in and they already don't have a rental.
And typically, it's very strange when we have a transaction where it's only a one deal. Typically, we have a little chain of 1, 2, 3, or 4 properties. And these are people that either they already think they bought a house and they maybe are moving out of their rental and they're out on the street. So and it, I mean, Liz, you can explain it because you're out there. I'm behind the desk, but you're actually an agent working with those agents.
How can a buyer lose if they don't? What other things can they lose when they don't hire the right agent?
I mean, they can like you said, they can be homeless, and it's a scary situation where they don't have a house to move to because there was something that was not mentioned, like the 5-day or 2-day after close of escrow time for them to move. So we help them prepare and plan for their move. There's so many ways they can, as a buyer, you want to make sure that the agent is helping you with asking for the proper closing cost or for the right home warranty. So if the seller doesn't want to give closing costs, maybe they will provide a home warranty. If you don't have an agent, if an agent doesn't know to ask for one or doesn't even know the companies that provide the better home warranties, then you lose as a buyer.
Also, you could lose your deposit. Usually your deposit is going to be 1% of the purchase price. So let's say you're buying a house that is worth $500,000, then your deposit is going to be $5,000. And sometimes an agent that it's not too experienced or doesn't really care that much could put your deposit in jeopardy, and what could happen?
They could release contingencies too soon. So sometimes.
So releasing contingencies, what would that be? Because some of these buyers, they've never bought. I mean, some of these clients haven't bought.
So when you get into escrow, you have typically 17 days to do inspections and 21 days to get your loan approval. And so let's say we're at the 21st day and the listing agent says, oh, you need to release the loan contingency, saying that you're completely approved. The educated agent will go back to the lender and ask the lender if it's okay to release that contingency and make sure that everything's 100% with the loan. An agent that doesn't know, they may just say, okay, call the buyer, have them sign the release of contingencies, and 2 days later find out that the loan wasn't fully approved. and 21 days should be enough time, but sometimes things
happen.
come up. There's a
Things
car
come up on the
payment
credit
or
or
child support, something that that doesn't appear at first, and so they need more time to clear it up.
So then buyers could lose their deposit when that happens if they already removed all contingencies. Sometimes there's a way to fight it, but if this agent didn't represent you well, protecting your deposit, they're probably not going to court with you and fight that deposit either.
Right.
Because they're not going to know how to do it.
Right. Or they'll be scared.
They won't have the right broker.
And the contingency period is so important, Faby. That's something that
Excuse me.
it is quite complicated because there are several obstacles in order to remove those contingencies. And if it's not a true professional that understands the ramifications and the damages that could cause the consumer, it would be like going to the dentist to get your gallbladder out. It's a little dangerous.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that's why you need to really find a good agent to represent you when buying a house or selling a house. Let's see, what's the next question?
So the next question is, who pays commissions, buyers or sellers?
Yeah, sometimes I get buyers and I'm showing them property, and once we close escrow, it's happened to me a few times, and I think that's something that I never cover because we don't charge commission to buyers, but we could. Some agents do charge commission, it's allowed, and sometimes, we have a standard that we make, 3% commission on most of our purchases or sales, and sometimes there's a listing that it's only paying 1%, and we're allowed to say to this buyer, well, that listing is only paying 1%, would you be willing to pay the difference in commission? So that is allowed. It's not a bad agent that does that. We don't all do it, but it's totally legal and it's understandable. And if it came to that, maybe I would ask for the same thing if they were only paying half a point or 1%, and my buyer really wants that property. I show my clients all the properties, whether they're paying 1%, half a percent, 3%. They get to see all the properties that are listed. Some of the agents out there will not show you any properties that are listed that are only paying 2% or less, right?
Yeah.
So also you have to make sure that you notice all those things. So ask. If you know about commissions. Buyers usually don't pay a commission. So sometimes I close the escrows and they're like, so when do we pay you? I'm like, oh, I already got paid. The seller pays those commissions.
Yeah.
Is it always like that, Karen?
Again, commissions are negotiable by law. Okay, there is no such thing as a fixed commission. The normal commission that is charged in a real estate transaction is 6%, and it has been like that forever and ever. Okay, and let me tell you, professional agents are worth every penny of that 6%.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Yes, but they are negotiable. So typically, the seller will pay for the commission. So if the question that I get asked a lot of times is, but why me as a seller? Why can't we split it with a buyer? Well, here's the reasoning behind it.
Because when they bought it, they didn't pay any commission.
And not only that, because selling a home requires marketing. So the listing agent, and Faby, you know it, you spend a lot of money in marketing your listings, okay? So that's part of the sellers contributing to the marketing of that property, okay? The buyer is just looking. And then, the seller is, they're just not having to front the money. They're not having to pay anything unless they receive the proceeds from the sale.
Right.
Okay? So with us, with Coldwell Banker West, they truly get the best of both worlds because they have the best agents such as you, and they have the Coldwell Banker banner, so they are protected. So I tell you, it's worth every penny. And for buyers, yes, we're free.
No commission for buyers. Seller pays the commission.
Buyers are welcome to pay us a little bit extra if they'd like.
Okay, so what's the next question?
So
okay,
there's
let's see who's here because we haven't mentioned any of you that are here. But there's
Is Martha there?
Yes,
I see Martha. Hi, Martha.
Martha, you were the first
Yeah.
one here. Thank
And
you.
Leslie-
We're gonna give you an escrow just because of that.
Leslie Peraza. Hi, Leslie.
Jesse. Oh, there's Martha again. Woohoo! Is that what you said?
Yes.
And then we
Summer.
have Tony Reyes. Oh, look about Somerset.
Oh,
She said, "Okay, you ladies need to take over the view. You'll all have a great chemistry."
We could.
Thanks, Summer.
Merav, Leslie,
He's
thank
always
you.
there. Mhm.
Maritza, Nicole, Luis Isais, Teresita, Kelly, hi. There's a lot of our friends here, the agents from here from the company.
Oh, Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa, we miss you.
We do miss you.
We do a lot.
Jorge Alvarez. Good to see you here.
Great job, ladies. Excellent topic. That's Kelly.
Hi,
Teresa
Kelly.
Flores. Hello, lady. You ladies look beautiful. Thank you.
Mika's on here too. Hey, Mika.
Yay.
Hi, friend.
Leti
Okay,
Hueso,
so-
good information. Love that you take the time to educate the clients and the whole process. Thank you, Mika. We have the best escrow also. You guys also educate our buyers
Yes,
and
they
sellers
do.
really well
Yeah.
when
Yes,
you come
they
and
do.
sign the paperwork. I really appreciate that. Karen is amazing. Love her. That's Vanessa.
Vanessa, I'll pay you later.
Lily
Thank you.
Cardeño. Victor Gonzalez, congratulations on your baby girl.
Aw, congrats.
Yay!
Arlet, hola guapas. That's what he said. Tons of knowledge at the table. Fernanda Andrade is watching. Brenda Perez Miranda.
Fernanda.
Brenda, hi. And Marta Garcia in America too. Okay, so there's all of you. Obviously, no questions because we are telling you everything.
Yes.
Right?
There's one more question here, Faby, that says, how can a buyer or a seller find a great agent to represent them? And I
Yeah,
have the
what-
perfect answer
They
for
should
that
just
question.
Go to Zillow.
No, not Zillow. Don't go to
So
Zillow.
the perfect way is, what's your phone number, Faby? I'm not.
There's two of us here.
Okay, so since I knew that they were not going to give their numbers, the office number is 619-271-9500, and you
call
can
that
just
number.
go ahead
Call
and
us
ask. Oh,
directly.
see,
Go
see.
ahead. Call us directly.
Yeah, look us up on Facebook. You'll see our phone
Yes,
numbers.
We're gonna post our numbers here, and you can call us directly. You don't need to call the main office. Here. Karen is trying to get more leads for all her agents. I'm just kidding. That's how she helps all of us. So, but where do they really look? Let's say I'm a buyer and I'm starting to look. So I'm gonna start looking at open houses. But sometimes the newest agents are the ones doing the open houses.
Mhm.
You know, because that's how they're learning and getting to talk to people. So, what would be the best way to find a good agent?
May I?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Call Coldwell Banker West. Easy.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, there's several ways, Faby. And again, you can go online and, you're going to find a gazillion agents. But the most important piece is that you have the right interview questions for those agents. And it is not necessarily, well, how many properties have you sold? Because as a manager, I get sometimes calls where they tell me, I want you to give me your best agent, the one that has sold the most properties. It's like, that might not be the right fit for you. So
Right, that's
it is
true.
the most important piece is to make sure that you ask the questions. You need to know as a buyer or a seller what your expectations are. What is it that you're looking for in an agent? And then
true.
interview that agent, okay? I always say, and the way that we train our agents here at Coldwell Banker West is that we need to make sure that we care about the clients. It is not about how much we know, it's about how much we care. There's always ways to finding the right answer if we have a question or if we have a doubt or whatever it is. That's not as important as caring about the client. As I mentioned before, help the clients understand what their true needs are, and as a professional, know exactly what are the results that those clients are looking for, and then focus onto that. Because the truth is that our business is based on relationships. And if we do a great job for a client, then it's going to be by referral, and that's the way we truly operate. So interview those agents, go online, go visit them at open houses, or again, the easiest way is call Coldwell Banker West.
Yes. Another way, like usually the way people find me, because like, how did your last sellers found you?
My last sellers, actually, it was a referral
Right.
from a friend.
So it's always going to be that way. So I think if you're looking for an agent, what you want to do is go talk to somebody that bought a house and was very happy with the purchase. That's how you're going to find a good agent. If they bought a house and a year has gone by and they're still saying, oh, you know what, my agent still calls me. I always
Yes.
get these things in the mail from them. She comes here and says hi. She calls me. She texts me. She's on my Facebook. So you want to make sure that they are happy with the experience they had with that agent, and that agent is still in touch with them. And that's how we get most of our clients. When we're doing a good job and we're staying in the business full time, most of our clients come from referrals, so they get recommended by other people, right?
Yeah, that's like 90% of my business, I would say, yeah.
It's like if anybody needs, let's say that you need a plumber today. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to people that you know. Is, hey, do you have a great plumber? Who do you recommend?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with agents. And, with a plumber, you're talking about maybe $200. Here you're talking about $500,000.
Exactly.
Right. So don't just go with your friend's cousin just because they're telling you, oh, well, that's my cousin. He just got his license. He needs business. No, go with somebody that bought a house and they were very happy with that agent. That's how you want to get referred to a good agent.
And I'd like to add, as a manager, I have seen plenty of horror stories in real estate transactions.
Oh yeah, that was the next one.
So I do want to share, and it's a combination to all the questions that we have, or to all the information that we have given, of how important it is to have a real estate professional represent you. Okay, there are so many things that could go wrong, and one of the ones that we see a lot is called that the buyer wants to take possession before close of escrow. Okay, so the buyer says, okay, you know what? We were supposed to close on November 10th. However, we're not going to be able to, but I have to be out of my rental, or I already sold my property, so I'll pay rent, but let me move in. Okay, that is very, very dangerous, and it's a total disservice to seller and buyer, because it's not closed until it's closed. And it's not only that, because the possibility of something going wrong maybe are minimal. However, let's say that there's a flood while that buyer is in possession. Whose insurance is going to cover it? The homeowner had a homeowner's insurance.
Not a renter's
Not a renter's insurance. So his insurance is not going to cover it. And the buyer doesn't have insurance yet. So what's going to happen with the house?
Yeah.
So little things like that are very, very important, okay? Then, it's the way I put it, in having a great agent walking with you the path of the seller or the buyer is the equivalent to trying to be the best athlete with your coach. If you follow what the coach says, and the coach is somebody that cares about you, you're going to be successful. It's the same thing with real estate professionals.
So if you have an agent that hasn't sold that many houses, I started that way when I started.
We all start there.
People trusted me, and I had sold only one house, but I had a mentor. I was splitting my commission with another agent. A lot of agents don't want to split their commission with the mentor. The mentor is not going to do their job for free. So obviously, when I started this business, I wanted to make sure my clients were protected, so I hired a mentor, because I was in a smaller company. I wasn't lucky to be here, and I had to pay part of my commission to a mentor, for that mentor to work with me. So make sure that your agent, if it's not experienced, that they have a mentor, and that that mentor, who is it? Are they really helping you? Are they protecting you with that contract? Because you're not going to understand the contract, so you want to make sure they do.
With us, Faby, I want to add, actually, newer agents are truly a blessing to all those people, because they have 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Because here, Miss Expert over here is going to be right there with them, so they're getting a 2 for the price of 1.
Exactly. And Liz has a lot of experience already, and she knows the area. So the good thing when you have an experienced agent is the negotiation. Because if you're a seller, they're going to negotiate the highest offer, the least amount of repairs, the least closing costs. And if you're a buyer and you have an experienced agent, they're going to negotiate for you the lowest price, the most closing costs, and the most repairs.
It's true.
So you want to make sure that you hired somebody that has a mentor. And they're lucky because they get all your experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll double check everything and sometimes triple, just to be safe.
Yeah, exactly.
And hi, Ana Hueso. She says that you forgot her, so
Ana.
hello, Ana.
Hermosa.
Hi, Tony. Tony's on there too. Mayra.
Tony
Hi,
Santiago.
Mayra.
Hi.
Mayra Ruiz. Where's she at? Mayra, where are you now? She was here before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you guys learned something today. If you know anybody that's thinking of buying, please send them our way. Also, if you know an agent that is not happy, or you see them at another company and they're not helping them, have them come over. Definitely. I left once and I came back. Trust me, it's good here.
She's happy to be back.
If that's a situation, contact Faby, and Faby, and I will get together and tell them what it is that we have to offer and see if we're a win-win. It has to be a win-win.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna do a raffle for you guys. We have 2 Starbucks cards that we're gonna give out. We should make Esther give us some gift cards. Like that. Yeah, you can bring it. Thank you, Benito.
Okay.
So who's gonna do? Let's do. You do one and then Lisa's the other one. Hold on. Let me do this.
I'm just here.
I love it. Don't drink it,
okay.
Karen. Okay, the winner.
The winner is.
Let's see. Summer Ross Singer. Congratulations. What did she get?
A Starbucks card.
Oh, nice. Coffee.
She likes those.
Yes.
Yes.
So, doesn't Summer? She does the cutest videos, doesn't she?
I love her in front
Summer
of the camera.
is the best. That's another plus. Coldwell Banker West Eastlake.
Yes.
You get Summer, who is the best receptionist in San Diego County, and I call her not receptionist, but she's the director of first impressions.
She can never leave unless she finds a replacement just like her. Just tell her she can never leave
tough.
unless she's.
I'm already working on clothing her.
Good idea.
Okay, so Faby,
Next one.
now you pull.
Se pegaron dos. Okay, let me see. Marta Garcia!
I'm glad I didn't pick you, Martha. Congratulations.
Starbucks card. You have to give it to me to raffle in the gun.
We should all go have coffee, actually.
Yes, we should. Well, thank you so much for joining me, ladies. We have to do this more often and talk about different things because I think when there's 3 of us, we can talk about more different things and that can help our viewers.
For all the viewers, I want to commend Faby for doing this, episode 65. Share it with your friends. Let people know, because Faby's always bringing great information with amazing guest speakers. And I would really like to see her show just kind of like blossom into the most important one in South Bay.
Thank you. This is the way I connect with all of you, and I love doing this. It is a lot of work. It seems like it's not, but it is a lot of work behind the scenes to put all this together and every week. But I think this is the best way for me to connect with all of you guys, and then have my friends come over and we all talk and just have fun. Because, now in this busy life, it's hard to see all of us.
Yeah, it is.
It's really hard. So this way, we're talking to all these people here. It seems like you already saw them, but it's just here online. But thank you for joining us every week. I'm going to leave you with a video of one of our beautiful properties we have listed here in Eastlake Vistas. We do have a couple of offers, but we haven't accepted anything. So I want to just leave you with that beautiful video that Paul Montano created for us.
Oh, nice.
He does really nice
He does really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So any of the agents that need aerial videos, we have them here at Coldwell Banker West too. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to add?
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
You gotta come back.
Thank you for having us, and thank you everybody for joining. And
see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.